Hello and welcome to this Idea Explainer video on transforming data management into information orchestration. The idea presented is developed by Patrick van Kalken. In this third video in a series of 5, I'll explain the second phase of information orchestration. In case you missed the first 2 videos, I'd like to invite you to watch these before this one. A link is provided in the description. Of course, any questions, suggestions, or comments are appreciated. Please let Patrick know what you think of this video in the comments or contact him directly. Contact details are shared at the end of the video. After having rules agreed and registered, the second phase of information orchestration, staying clean, commences. It is key to ensure that the agreed data rules are incorporated in the data-producing processes through automation and education. This phase is focusing on new data being created and existing data being modified on business request. Before we can talk about staying clean, we have to discuss data management. Data management can be organized in many ways and varies per company. However, I'd like to propose to acknowledge the following 4 sub-processes. Create, where new records are created. Modify, where existing records are altered. Deactivate, where an active record is deactivated. And reactivate, where a previously deactivated record is activated again. A 5th process is arguably also part of data management, being review. However, for the purpose of information orchestration, we'll leave it out for now, as it is a completely separate activity from the aforementioned sub-processes. In general, I'd like to distinguish 2 ways of data management. The first one is most applied. However, it is not recognized as data management. This way of managing data is through business processes. This is most often managing transactional data. For example, the creation of a sales order, in fact, is creating a new data record which contains other data elements, like customer and item master data combined with variables like quantity. As this type of data management is fully embedded, either manual in the business process or as functionality integrated in the applications using the data, it requires collaboration with business process owners and application owners to ensure data quality rules are embedded. However, from a data management perspective, other than monitoring, there are no other activities. The second one is master and reference data management operated by a dedicated data management organization specialized in the maintenance of critical data sets, most commonly the global master data. It is worthwhile to mention that, in some cases, master data is handled as if it was transactional data within the business processes. A clear example is employee master data. The creation of an employee record is firmly integrated and operated through the business process of hiring new employees. The same goes for deactivation, which is the HR leavers process. All 4 sub-processes in general follow the same high-level process, which consists out of 4 steps. Request, where requester requests an action to be performed on the data, may it be create, modify, deactivate, or reactivate. Usually, a request starts with the requester filling out a request form, providing all the required details. Once filled out, the form is submitted for processing. The submitted request is required to go through various gatekeepers. A gatekeeper task can be verify and confirm that submitted data is correct and complete. An example is checking if the provided bank account is correct, or specific data that can only be provided by a certain function. An example is adding a warehouse code to a new warehouse, or performing an action before the workflow can continue. An example is ensuring that all materials are moved out of the warehouse before it is deactivated. The gatekeeper's activities vary per type of data. Activities can be performed in sequence, in parallel, or a combination, depending on the characteristics of the business process, needs, and potential risks. Once the gatekeeper checks are performed, it is possible to have an overall approver who approves the complete request. However, as all the individual gatekeepers already looked at critical fields, this is not required for all requests and depends on business needs. Lastly, once approved, the request is processed into the active data, making it ready for consumption. Now that data management is addressed, we can continue with Phase 2, the Stay Clean phase. In Phase 1, we have identified, agreed, and documented data quality rules. Now we have to ensure that the rules are complied with. The most secure way of complying with the data quality rule is to integrate the rule in automated create and modify data workflows. This way, a request simply doesn't continue with the flow unless it is in compliance with the rule. If automation is not an option, having a manual check performed by a gatekeeper is the next best option. The gatekeeper can stop the flow from continuing with non-compliant data. This way, the dataset stays clean as dirty data is prevented from entering the system. Although through automation, the majority of transactions should be processed touchless by the data management organization, there will be scenarios that were not taken into account while building the automation. To facilitate such scenarios, exception handling has to be instated. This means that when a transaction is stuck within the workflow, usually identified by a requester or gatekeeper processing the request, needs to be handled as an exception. Exceptions have to be assessed for the root cause of non-compliance. This can mean two things. The first being, the requested data should not be added to the dataset as it remains incorrect or incomplete. The root cause is often unawareness of the requester, or in a worst case, the organization is not yet harmonized with the data quality rule and requires education. Secondly, it is demonstrated that the data quality rule has a flaw and needs to be revised. The new scenario needs to be embedded in the data quality ruling, ensuring that the next occurrence of the same scenario is handled correctly and does not end up in an exception again. Also, in the stay clean phase, strong collaboration with the business functions is key. While developing the automation, it often is required to consult business specialists to explain details. Even in some cases, the data quality rule is strengthened by further detailing the rule. When an exception does occur, the root cause requires identification, and the appropriate resolution needs to be agreed with the business representative. Once agreed, the resolution needs to be embedded, which again requires collaboration with business functions. This was the third video in a series of 5, where the second phase of information orchestration, staying clean, is explained. In the next video, we'd like to go into the third phase of information orchestration. So, if you are interested, please stay connected and watch out for the next one. Again, any questions, suggestions, or comments are appreciated. Please let Patrick know what you think of this video in the comments, or contact him directly through these contact details. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye!